If you're seeing this video, then the passport makeup went well. I need to show you my last passport photo and exactly why we're putting in so much effort today. Trying so hard not to dox myself right now, but you get the point. Draco Malfoy you. I kind of want this done in 40 minutes, so let's get started. Of course, there's the straight part. It's turning into a hair tutorial. I promise we're about to do makeup. First step is I'm going to moisturize super well, and I've been loving using a super emollient moisturizer for this step. I actually just saw both Makeup by Mario and Charlotte Tilbury do a masterclass, which I'm so blessed I was invited to both, and they both always start with an emollient, slightly thicker moisturizer. Makeup by Mario did say he likes the Embryolisse, the Latte Creme Concentrate, and this is of course Charlotte Tilbury's Magic Cream. I've also recently fallen in love with grippy primers, so I am going to use a grippy primer today. This one's by e.l.f. I just feel like it adds so much glow and actually does grip onto the makeup. I've been dealing with patchiness around my nose because I have a little bit of dermatitis, and it just really helps with that. I was such a Milk Hydro Grip hater. I really do need to give it another go, seeing as I've been loving this and I've been trialing the new Maybelline one. I just feel like this makes your skin look like glass when you put foundation on. But the only thing I'm thinking about today is, yes, I want my skin to look healthy and lit from within, but I don't want to be shiny because I don't know what the photo situation is going to be at the post office. Who knows? But usually it will bring out any shine. So you do want to look a little bit more matte in professional photography, even though I doubt this is going to be professional in any shape or form, but you know, playing it safe. I'm also going to moisturize my lips so we can let that sink in. As I mentioned, I did go to Makeup by Mario's masterclass and he always starts with eyebrows. So I use my little palette to be a little bit closer, but I am going to fill in my brows like normal. But I do think doing it as a first step also eliminates, especially for me because I have sparse brows, the stress at the end of like perfecting the brows. So I'm going to go in with my brows now just to have like a map and a shaping for my eye makeup, but then I'll go back and touch it up at the end. I also feel like doing this step first does make your brows look a little bit more, I guess, natural, because you are doing some at the start. You're going to do your foundation, and if, you know, a little bit of foundation goes on it, it's not a big deal. You can just fix it up at the end. But it also means that you're only fixing up the bits that you need to fix up. You're not putting all your brow product on top of everything else. Does that make sense? Because if you're putting it on last, it's always going to be the most stark thing. So doing it first means it's going to be more natural, and then you can just touch up where you need to. Also, it takes me ages to do my brows because I don't really have much at the moment. So it's kind of nice to get it out of the way. I have a pimple on my eyebrow. Delightful. So I'm going to fill them in, but I'm not going to use any gels because that's just committing too far for me. Like I said, we're going to touch it up at the end. I'm going to start with eyes first, and that is just to eliminate if there's any fallout or anything. And also, I'm just kind of being inspired by Makeup by Mario as well with his techniques. Where are you? I was making sure that wasn't peeling because that would ruin me. So blending out that concealer, and you can use this to carve out the eyebrows a little bit if you want to. This is just going to act as an eye base and setting it so then your eyeshadows last longer and also blend better on top. Mario actually always tight lines his eyes first, so I've been trialing it and it looks really good. This is actually a cream eyeshadow. This is by Mecca and this is in the shade Toffee, so it's like a deep brown. And by tightline, I mean go inside the eye, and it's not pretty to look at, so bear with me. I also put some on the top of the eye and it's really messy and it doesn't matter. And then we're going on the inside. I chose this color because it's dark, but it's not going to overpower the rest of my features. If I did black, I feel like with the photography they're probably going to use is that only my black eyeliner will show up and nothing else. So I just wanted it to be a little bit more balanced. And then I am going to take another Mecca eyeshadow. This is in the color Caramel, which is like a warm brown. And I'm just going to pop that all over the eye. And then blending it out with a synthetic brush, just putting it all over the lid and through the crease. And I always like to blend up to the temples to create the lifted effect. I honestly was so intimidated by cream eyeshadows, but lately it's all I've been doing. And you definitely want it softer and more diffused in these outer areas. Honestly, it's already looking so good, but I am going to go in with some of Makeup by Mario's Master Mattes palette just to further define. Starting off with this shade, just a little bit in the crease and outer third. Doing the same thing, grabbing a darker shade, especially in this outer corner area. I really want to define that because I want my eyes to look like they're being pulled to the side, bigger, open. And of course, connecting it to that liner that we did before. And just grabbing a big fluffy brush just to blend those edges to make it a little bit more seamless. And Mario uses a super light shade and he puts it on the very highest point of the brow just to create some lift. And I'm going to pop a little bit of that, whatever's remaining, in the inner corners just to create that kind of light to dark transition, further open up the eyes. I'm not going to do any more eyeliner or anything, but I am going to grab this dark brown shade on a little pencil brush and just smudge it just where that liner was. And I'm doing the inner corners too. And sweeping the excess upwards to, again, create that feline effect. The eyes are definitely coming together, but I just had the funniest thought that I don't wear makeup on international flights, so hopefully this doesn't cause me any issues, but I'd rather look cute. So I did do the skincare first on purpose just to let it settle in, and I am going to go in with my glotion, even though I said I don't want to be too glowy, but I don't want to look flat and dry. I'm going to go in with Estee Lauder Double Wear because, like I said, I want a little bit more matte satin look, even though I'm adding glow. But I do want to start off with small layers starting at the center of my face, and then I'm going to build up. This is just to prevent any cakiness or adding too much makeup. So I am pressing it into the center of my face first, and then adding more and then spreading it out. Like I said, this part of my nose has been causing me grief, but with the gripping primer, it just helps so much. And if you're planning on tucking your hair behind your ears, make sure you put foundation on your ears. And I just use whatever's left of my beauty blender just to blend down my neck. We're gonna add some concealer, a little bit underneath the eyes and ear to lift up the eyeshadow, which I'll show you in a minute. Around the nose, centers of the face to help highlight. And I'm gonna let that set for a minute. I have been trialing this as well. Again, Makeup by Mario, the Charlotte Tilbury makeup artist that did my makeup, they all let their concealer set for a minute. So I've been trialing it, and usually people say that it just adds a little bit more coverage. While I wait for that to dry, I'm going to take some of Tanielle J's Latte Bronzour. It literally is bronzour. I don't know why I said that so weird. It's like a bronzer and contour together, and I'm going to use this to shape my face. This is super important because we need some shape. Otherwise, as you could see from my first passport photo, it will photograph you flat. And this is recommendation if you are going to a wedding, if it's your wedding, somewhere where there's going to be like photography, you need dimension in your face. So this is all about creating that dimension. And I'm not afraid to go a little heavy-handed with this, making sure we go along the jaw, forehead, and I like to just add a little bit of that same cream bronzer, linking up the eyeshadow to my temples just to further pull open the eyes. Let's blend out the concealer. Definitely adds a lot of coverage. Well, that hack definitely works. And I'm just going to lightly blend out this concealer, but I am going to pull it upwards again, creating that feline shape. Whoa, she is glam. Again, grabbing the same thing, and I am going to add a little bit of this to my nose, joining my eyebrow to my nose, just to create some definition. Otherwise, I will look like Lord Voldemort. And if you add some down here, this will lift your nose. Just using a beauty blender to blend it out and make sure that the foundation is still on my nose. And just making sure those two lines are actually quite close together because it will create a thinner appearing nose. I honestly never contour my nose and it doesn't really look good in person, but in photos it does look good. And then just going to blend this out, make sure that that contour is not dragging down the face. Kind of look a little bit scary. I need some blush. I've chosen a Nudestix cream peachy blush because that's just what suits me. But I said this to people when I was doing bridal makeup or working at Mecca, but you need blush, otherwise you are going to look just not healthy. So just popping some on. I like to put it kind of both on the apples of the cheek to create some fullness in my face here, but I also, again, like that snatch look. So I'm kind of doing both on the apples and bringing it up. We just want it to be a seamless blend here. I also like to add a little bit of blush on the forehead just to create a cohesive color palette, because if you were in the sun, of course, you would get bronzeness around your hairline, but also it would look a little bit pinky. So I think a little bit of blush here makes it look cohesive. And you can do this on the nose as well. And as you can see, my nose is playing up. It's looking a little bit cakey. So I'm just gonna grab my beauty blender and just remove some of that product. And just in pressing motions, blend into my nose. Not the heat rash. Putting whatever's remaining on my brush just to further contour my lips and my chin. My nose isn't looking perfect, but I'm gonna show you a little hack, what I've been doing lately to make it look a little bit more perfect. First, I'm going to set my face with a powder that I know has no flashback. Maybelline True Match, and I'm putting this in the areas that need blurring and also intense setting. So around my nose, the pores in my cheeks. And like I said, I am not usually a big powder person, but we need to powder. We can actually get really shiny in between the brows and here, so we need to powder that area. And I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna look like you're wearing makeup in person. Also, I don't usually powder underneath my eyes, but I'm just gonna add a tiny bit, especially in this outer corner that's showing a little bit of shine, because I don't want anything throwing off the photo. Honestly, the powder has helped the nose a lot, but what I have been doing is adding powder with a little bit of coverage. So this is by Charlotte Tilbury, and just adding it to that specific area. And of course, you can use this in any area that you feel like you need a little bit more coverage. Love the Hourglass ambient lighting powders because it just adds a tiny bit of glow to your skin. We don't want to look dead here. Also, is this heat rash or me allergic to my cat? So now we're going to do like powder bronzer, powder blush. So I'm starting off with a matte bronzer, further defining those cheekbones. And because we've already added the creams, you should know exactly where to go. And I like to blend down with my powder bronzers rather than using a lot of foundation so it doesn't transfer onto my clothes. Forehead, nose. I am going to take some of my Hourglass bronzer just to add a little bit of life into the skin. And then taking my current favorite blush at the moment, this is House Labs. It's super pigmented, so I need to be careful because I am using quite a stiff brush as well. I just kind of want to place it where I really want it first. And then from there, blending it out. That was a bit scary at first, but it worked out. I took an antihistamine because I'm not letting this ruin my photo. To finish the eyes, we're going back with the Master Mattes, using a little brush and just blending the edges all the way across. I think I like how defined that is, but not too dark. I am just adding the slightest bit of dark on that very outer area just to join it together. We are curling the lashes, of course. Waterproof mascara holds the best curl. So we are loading up on that. I was thinking maybe doing a couple of individual lashes, but I don't think I need it. I think I just got some mascara on my eyelid, but I'm just gonna let that dry and then flake it away. Like I said, we're touching up the eyebrows at the end to perfect. So I'm just gonna go more on the ends to add a bit more definition, focusing on that arch. I like how the front is a bit faded. I might just add a couple strokes here. For lips, I was thinking a little bit natural, but still defined and glossy. So using the new Charlotte Tilbury double-sided lip liner, we're going to define with the darker side. Filling in with the lighter. Just going to use a little bit of this Maybelline lip liner to just further define. It's nearly overlined a little bit too much, and we're a little bit lopsided, so let me fix that. And a little bit of gloss to top it off. But this is what the finished makeup is looking like. I'm gonna zhuzh up my hair and then go get my photos, and I'll come right back and fingers crossed they're good. I just had the biggest disaster because I'm on a massive time crunch and the post office I went to doesn't do photos. So I had to get my car and drive to another one. Pretty close to perfect. And if I can give you any advice is follow my tutorial, but add more powder. It truly picks up anything.